Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Croft channel, where my aesthetic is discussing all things Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. Today, we're going to be doing a tier list ranking of all the Tomb Raider games in the franchise so far, including the Lara Croft spin-off games and some of the random mobile games. So we're going to get a good variety of games here. You're going to get a good glimpse into the taste of what I like about the Tomb Raider franchise, what I don't like about the Tomb Raider franchise. I'm a pretty new channel here, and a lot of you guys don't know me all that well. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you. So today you're going to get a pretty good look into what I like, what I don't like, and yeah, it's just going to be a rambly good time. So grab a snack, sit down, get comfy, and let's get into it. Okay, so starting off, we have 5 tiers here, starting with the S tier all the way down to the D tier. And for the tiers, I have used iconic Lara Croft quotes to name all of the tiers. Starting with the S tier, we have I Make My Own Luck. All the games going in the S tier are obviously the most iconic, incredible, talented, show-stopping, never-been-done-before games to ever grace the Tomb Raider franchise. These are the best of the best, right? The A tier is Anyway, Busy Girl, Gotta Go. These are the great games, and I love them. They may have a couple flaws, but I still love them, and they are almost perfect. For the B tier, we have I'm Sorry, I Only Play for Sport. These games are pretty good. They're not great, but they're still fun to play. The C tier is economy class. These are the games that they're good, they're fine to play every once in a while, but I'm not running back to these games very often. And of course, we have one of Lara's most iconic lines for the D tier, and that is simply, no, I don't want to play these games, I don't like these games. And yeah, so let's get into it, starting off with Tomb Raider 1, released in 1996. This is the debut of Lara Croft. Our iconic action heroine is hired by a mysterious businesswoman, Jacqueline Natla, to retrieve a mythical and powerful artifact called the Scion. Tomb Raider's gameplay is revolutionary, and to this day does not get the credit it deserves. It is one of the first fully 3D games out there. Using grid-based gameplay combined with the tank controls make for a very precise control system. I'm a tank control apologist. Tank controls are not as hard to comprehend as many people make them out to be, and I will die on that hill. It's not the controls, it's you, girl. The controls are precise and responsive, and because of the tank controls, the platforming is fun and it's challenging. Each jump is tense, especially if you played on the PS1 with the limited save crystals. Heck, even on PC, where you can save anywhere, the tension is real. The environments are varied, with us visiting places all over the world like Peru, Greece, and Egypt. The levels are sprawling and they're fun to traverse, and will take you to extreme highs and even extreme lows. So whether you have a fear of heights or drowning, some form of fear is always present. The story doesn't have much meat on its bones, but what is there is really good. Lara is hired by a businesswoman, Jacqueline Natla, to find an ancient artifact called the Scion. Lara is stoic in this game, but she has just enough personality to make you fall in love with her. It's like she's calm and collected, but she's still playful as well. You can especially see that in the first cutscene with Larson. She's strong and takes no shit, but is still very polite. She will kick your ass with a please and a thank you. I love that about her. We also have the introduction of Tomb Raider's most iconic and cuntiest villain of the franchise, Jacqueline Natla. She's got a bad bitch bob and a power suit. She is charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to a T. There's a reason why she was the queen of Atlantis. One of my other favorite things about the Tomb Raider 1 game is how it is essentially a horror game. Between how quiet and isolating it can be at times, combined with the resource management and the enemies that you come across, this game is scary enough already. The noise the mummies and later in the game Atlanteans make are enough to horrify anyone. I remember playing this game as a kid and being so freaked out by their breathy moans, especially when you hear them before you see them. Once you get to the game's final section, Atlantis, it veers straight into science fiction. There's genetically engineered monstrosities hatching from eggs, floors and walls made up of pulsating flesh and bone, and a heart-beating ambient track that thumps away endlessly in your ear. This place is something straight out of a nightmare, and it's probably one of my favorite locations in the entire franchise. One of the final bosses that you face in this game, I call him Adam. He's an Atlantean with no legs, so he pulls himself around the platforms by his fingers and tries to snatch up Lara. It's such a cool and unique design. You just didn't really see a lot of these design and these environments back then, especially when you start out in Tomb Raider 1, you have no idea that you're going to end up in a place like this. The Scion is also one of my favorite artifacts in the franchise. I love how it separates into 3 separate pieces and how it interlocks together. It's just such a cool, unique design. I genuinely don't know how we haven't gotten a replica of this thing yet, like a full-size replica with like 3 pieces that interlock together. Oh, that would be so cool. Tomb Raider 1 is a beast of a game, and there's a reason why it's still iconic to this day, and it's been remade twice now. Tomb Raider 1 is quintessential Tomb Raider. It is Tomb Raider distilled down into its finest form, and for that, it of course belongs in the I make my own luck section. Next up, we have Tomb Raider 1 Unfinished Business, or often referred to as Tomb Raider 1 Gold, released in 1998. Unfinished Business is an expansion pack that released a few years after the original game. It wasn't developed by Core Design, it was actually made by a team of developers in the San Francisco offices of Eidos Interactive. Same goes for the other Tomb Raider Gold expansions for 2 and 3. Unfinished Business includes 4 levels, with 2 taking place in Atlantis and 2 in Egypt. The Atlantis levels are an epilogue that picks up directly after the events of the first game. These levels pick up immediately after Lara defeats Natla and slides down the long slope to exit the pyramid. The levels begin with Lara at the bottom of that same slope, not outside, but in the proverbial basement of the pyramid. She must fight her way out before the pyramid collapses and destroy one last living hive of Atlanteans in the process. On the flip side, the Egypt levels take place after the events of the game. Lara ventures back to the city of Khamun to investigate and discover the secret of the strange cat statue. Unfinished Business is quite a mixed bag. The Atlantis levels are very difficult and challenging, even for the most experienced Tomb Raider fan. You begin these levels with none of your resources from the main game, and there's really not a whole lot of resources to find in the levels to get you back up to speed. So you spend the entirety of these levels struggling to stay alive. I do admire what Phil Campbell and the developers were going for. These levels push Tomb Raider's resource management to its limit, but between the small amount of ammo you're provided, the large amount of enemies that you have to fight, and the obtuse and confusing level design, these levels don't exactly feel all that fun to play. The level design in the first Atlantis level is so bizarrely done that you can actually skip the entire level by accident. I actually did this on my first playthrough. All shortcomings aside though, these are some pretty interesting levels, even if they don't always stick the landing. I do love the very end of the Hive level. It has a very cinematic and explosive finale. I have a lot more positive things to say about the Egypt levels. I love these levels. There is something very dreamlike and serene about these levels. I'm not sure if it's the difference in level design, as you can tell a different team has made these, or if it's something else like the Struggle Bus Starry Night Sky, but all of these factors contribute to a very uncanniness feeling to the levels, and I mean that in a good way. Even though this expansion is a bit uneven with its difficulty and level design, I do still enjoy it a lot. So I'm gonna put this one in the B tier. I'm sorry, I only play for sport. Alright, next up is Tomb Raider 2, released in 1997. Lara has set her sights on a new mysterious artifact called the Dagger of Xi'an. Little does she know, Marco Bartoli, the leader of a mafia cult group, the Fiamma Nera, have also been hunting this powerful dagger for quite some time. Tomb Raider 2 is, in my opinion, another gold standard for Tomb Raider games. It is a sequel done in all the right ways. We have improvements to the game engine, so Lara now has an actual braid. We have genuine skyboxes instead of textured on skies or just plain black ceilings. And we also have the introduction of vehicles. Lara can now drive boats and snowmobiles to aid her in traversing some of these levels. Side note, the Skidoo track goes so hard. Tomb Raider 2 has some of my favorite soundtrack music. Should I rank the Tomb Raider soundtracks as well? Let me know. Tomb Raider 2 also pulls no punches in the difficulty department, throwing you into the first level with some insane traps back to back. Swinging blades, crumbling floors, rolling boulders, it does not hold your hand, and that's just the first level. Tomb Raider 2 also takes us all over the globe, featuring locations like the Great Wall of China, the Tibetan foothills, and even mythical pocket dimensions. It has a great variety of locales, but in all fairness, doesn't feature all that many tombs. I don't really use that against Tomb Raider 2 though, because even though many of these locations aren't technically tombs, they still feel very isolated and elicit just as much fear. The Tibetan Ice Palace is isolated and freezing cold and sometimes pitch black with screaming yetis charging at you. The screams of these yetis used to have me shitting my pants as a kid. We also have 40 fathoms beginning you at the bottom of the sea with a limited air supply and no specific direction to go in, which is crazy. I remember being stuck on this level for a long time with my dad as a kid. We could not figure out where to go. You would never see a game do that in this day and age. Tomb Raider 2 also does lean a bit more into the action side of things and features a lot more human enemies this time around. You won't have to worry about running out of ammo in this game because it's everywhere. Speaking of those human enemies though, one genuine issue I do have with this game is the amount of forced damage that you take. There's a variety of cult members you fight in this game, one being a guy with a pistol and a silencer attached. And I don't know if this man mastered the ability to curve bullets or what, but his punk ass will hit you from angles not humanly possible. So while ammo is plentiful in this game, you do need to be mindful of your health and medipacks because you will be going through a lot of them, especially during the Venice levels. My favorite thing about this game though is the artifact, the Dagger of Xi'an. I love this artifact so much that I had a custom dagger made, and this is real. This is like a real blade. I think the mythos surrounding this dagger is just so interesting. I love that red wooden door outside the temple, the design of the dagger as well as the logo itself. It's all just chef's kiss. It just feels so original. I love the aesthetic of this game. The greens and the reds featured in this game just give it a very distinctive look and feel. I don't know, I just can't like really explain it. All that being said, it is a no-brainer that Tomb Raider 2 is going into the S tier. I make my own luck. Alright, next up is Tomb Raider 2 Gold, released in 1999. Lara is intrigued after coming across many clues that lead her to a small island in the Bering Sea. She's searching for an ancient golden mask that is rumored to bestow powers of reanimation on the mask wearer. Tomb Raider 2 Gold, or also referred to as the Golden Mask, is a wonderful expansion. While Unfinished Business felt a bit disjointed and struggled to have any real semblance of a story, Golden Mask fixes all of that. These levels feel like a true expansion, with its own unique story and brand new textures made specifically for these levels. The Golden Mask sets itself apart from the base game and genuinely feels like a fresh experience. The Golden Mask has some pretty neat areas and environments to work through, like an old Russian government mine, creepy caves, and even features a beautiful river of gold. There's some really cool stuff in this expansion. Because these expansions did not have the budget to do their own cutscenes or have dialogue, all the storytelling is done through the environment. And man, they really knocked it out of the park with this one. I particularly love when you are descending down from the mine into the caves. It's a wonderful moment that has a lot of environmental storytelling. This expansion is a lot of fun, and I'm gonna put this one in anyway. Busy girl, gotta go. Next up, we have Tomb Raider 3, released in 1998. A new year comes a new artifact, and this time, Lara is on the hunt for the Infada Stone within the ruins of an ancient Indian Hindu temple. This adventure proves to be Lara's biggest one yet, as there's more to this artifact's history than she's aware of. Tomb Raider 3 is a tough game. The level design in this game is absolutely punishing. There are traps that are specifically designed to kill you, and the only way that you'll know they're there is if you've either died to it before or you've played this game 100 times. Core Design specifically made this game to be as difficult as possible, and baby, it shows. The London levels are designed so poorly that even the level designer himself, Andy Sanham, has agreed that these levels are confusing. Lud's Gate remains to be one of the most hated levels in the franchise, and Aldwych comes in at a close second. If you had the misfortune of playing this game on the PlayStation 1, you also had the horrifically dark version of the game that was essentially unplayable. I really don't know how y'all did it back then, and I don't understand how it was released this way. God knows I kept my ass in Croft Manor where I was safe. I do love the other levels in this game though. The India levels, South Pacific, and Nevada levels are all great. And girl, Lara's fashion is fantastic in this game. Do y'all remember the commercial where there was a fashion show with all of Lara's outfits at the end? That was so camp. I wish we could get some of that fun back into the franchise. I do like a lot of Tomb Raider 3's story. We have another self-contained story that takes Lara all across the globe, and you can actually choose the order in which you want to play the game, for better or worse. Allowing the player to choose which section they'd like to play next gives the player a sense of freedom, but you can actually end up screwing yourself over and make the games 10 times harder if you choose to do the Nevada levels last. Lara gets arrested and locked in jail during the Nevada section, having her entire inventory taken away from her. And you don't get the ammo back, only the weapons. So if you happen to choose the Nevada level to play last, you'll lose all of the items that you've been collecting the entire game so far. So by the time you get to the Antarctica, which is the final section of Tomb Raider 3, you really don't have a ton of resources left to survive. Anyway, I enjoy Tomb Raider 3's story a lot. I like the fact that Lara is under the impression that the Infada Stone is the only artifact of its kind, and is hired by Willard after being informed of the other 3 artifacts. The Infada tribe only had one artifact of this type. It's unique. I love the way that she says that for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I just love it. We also get some really great moments with Lara here. She has an interaction with an injured soldier during the South Pacific section, and attempts to help him. Who says classic Lara is an ice queen? The final confrontation between Lara and Willard is also one of my favorite moments from the classic games. I think that my opinion of this game has become a lot better in recent years. I would probably rank it a lot lower had it not been for the remasters that released in 2024. The remasters fixed a lot of the lighting issues and made the games a lot more enjoyable, so I do find myself replaying Tomb Raider 3 a lot more than I used to. With all that being said, Tomb Raider 3 is going into the anyway, basic girl gotta go section. Next is Tomb Raider 3 The Lost Artifact, released in the year 2000. After learning of the existence of a 5th meteorite artifact called the Hand of Rathmore, Lara sets out on a journey to retrieve it, only to be confronted by an old foe. I think it's safe to say that this expansion is the best of the 3, like, subjectively. This expansion is the most ambitious with the story that it tells and the locations that you visit. We visit Scotland, the Channel Tunnel in the UK, an underwater lab, and even a zoo if you can believe it. The levels are pretty tricky, but not nearly as masochistic as the base game. I actually think that these levels are pretty damn enjoyable. The Scotland levels are gorgeous, with Willard's estate being a really cool location that we visit. Riding a quad bike through the English Channel and jumping it across a moving train is so much fun. And the underwater level in this expansion is probably my favorite underwater level, period. I know I'm saying it a lot, but this expansion is just so much fun. And the sections near the end of the game are really, really spooky as well. You just get a really great variety in this expansion. These levels are packed with so much detail and Easter eggs. There's just so many cool aspects to them. It's just such a treat to play this expansion. It's so damn good. So if you haven't played this one, you really, really need to. I also love the story in this one. Even though they couldn't do any cutscenes in the game to convey the story, they wrote out paragraphs explaining what was going on and put it in the manual for the game. You can just tell that this one was a labor of love. The artifact for this game is really neat. I love that it's an extension of the meteorite from the base game. The Hand of Rathmore just looks sick. And again, how do we not have replicas of these meteorite artifacts? You could so easily create these with resin. But anyway, Sophia Lee returns at the end of this expansion as the final boss, and I just think that is so creative. I really wish they could have done more with this one, at least in terms of some cutscenes or dialogue, but either way, what's there is already so damn good, and it's so much fun that it doesn't really matter. This one is essential to the Tomb Raider franchise, and you guys need to play it if you haven't already. So of course it is going into the I make my own luck tier. All right, next up is Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation, released in 1999. The millennium is upon us, and Lara's sticky fingers lands not only her, but quite literally everyone on the planet in hot water as she unknowingly sets in motion the apocalypse. Can Lara set things right, or will this adventure be her last? Tomb Raider 4 is a massive and exhausting game, full of a lot of great things and a lot of bad. Starting off with the great things, we have Lara's character significantly expanded upon in this one. Core Design did a lot of work to create a more engaging story, and they definitely succeeded here. Starting off the prologue with a new character, Werner von Croy, a mentor to Lara when she was younger, is a really smart setup to the story. Not only does it begin the extremely complicated relationship between Werner and Lara, but it also shows us how history is doomed to repeat itself if we don't learn from it. There are some great parallels with Lara and Werner's actions in this game, and I really appreciate those details. Werner almost died by being selfish and not following his own advice of being careful and respecting the environments they're in. This is a lesson Lara will have to learn for herself as well, and it may end up costing her her life. It's a decently simple story, but there's just so much flavor here with the characters and the writing that it really elevates it into something incredible. Lara as a character is truly something special in this game, and Core Design has hit a stride with her. She's sassy, witty, clever, and as badass as ever. I mean, who would accidentally free an ancient Egyptian god, bring about the end of the world, and then refer to fixing it as removing a thorn in my side? I mean, she's just a fucking queen. I just love her so much. This game is entirely set in Egypt, and there are some amazing levels in this game. I think the first quarter of this game is phenomenal, but y'all, this game is long, and the levels are massive. So massive that there are loading screens in between some areas, and some levels have quite a few different areas that you'll be running in between and backtracking to several times. There's also no end screen statistics in Tomb Raider 4 like in the previous games, so because of this, a lot of areas blend together and things can get really confusing. When I was first playing through this game for really the first time when I played the remasters, I found myself not really knowing whether or not a level was over. Like, did I move on? Is this just another section? Like, a lot of times the game doesn't do that well of a job letting you know that the level is over and you've moved on to the next area. Especially when you get to Cairo, another fan favorite, and I mean that sarcastically. The Last Revelation also has a huge issue of introducing gameplay mechanics that are never explained to the player. At one point, you'll need to pick up a torch and throw it onto the floor where there are exposed wooden beams, so you can burn a hole in it and go down to the floor below. That's never been a thing in this game or any other Tomb Raider games like at all. It's just a one-off mechanic that's never used again. There's also now switches on the ceiling in some areas when you're swimming underwater. There's doors that Lara can sometimes open with her hands, sometimes you'll need a crowbar to open, and you never know which one it is. It's just like, why is this here? It's just not intuitive whatsoever for the player, and it can lead to some really frustrating moments when you're going back and forth on the game's rules and what's possible within the game. While a first playthrough may be frustrating, I do think that this game gets better the more that you play it. When you know what you're doing and you can truly appreciate the scenery and the story, this game is just fantastic. The FMVs in The Last Revelation are breathtaking, especially the FMV at the end of the game showing the summoning ritual of Horus. This game is over 25 years old, and this scene is still insanely gorgeous. I mean, look at it! I also love the FMV where Lara's entering, I think, the tomb of Semerket. The way Lara and Werner bicker back and forth just makes me laugh so much. I could watch this FMV forever.
If it's the leg causing all this resentment, I seem to remember that being down to your affinity with pulling hazardous levers.
And she's so over it in this game. I just love it. I love all of it every single time. This game is a lot of fun. but it tends to be a bit of a slog in its back half. So while I really do love this game, it's definitely not perfect. So I think that I'm gonna put it in the anyway, busy girl got to go tier. I don't think that's too hateful considering what this game puts you through. Alright, Tomb Raider Chronicles, released in the year 2000. Spoiler alert, Lara kinda died. Or well, maybe? Lara is presumed dead, and while an emotional and determined Werner von Croy searches for Lara's body, Winston and some of Lara's closest friends reminisce about her most iconic adventures. If you look up the definition of what the phrase mixed bag means, you'll see a picture of Tomb Raider Chronicles next to it. Tomb Raider Chronicles is a paint-by-numbers Tomb Raider game that was made simply because Core Design kinda had to. Eidos wanted yearly releases, and not even the death of Lara Croft herself was going to stop them. There was no passion involved in making Chronicles. The developers have said so on many occasions. It wasn't wanted, it wasn't needed, and it shows. There isn't anything innovative done with Chronicles. The only new moves that are added are, I think, like the tightrope walking, maybe one or two other things, but that's probably about it. I mean, it's nothing of note. And at this point, they've pushed the PS1 as far as they can really take it, so there really wasn't much else to do, which is why Chronicles feels so tacked on. But despite all of that, I do still really like Chronicles. I think the idea of Chronicles is so cool, and they really nailed the tone with this game. As I mentioned, Lara is still missing and presumed dead during this game, so all the adventures that we play are from the past. And from the first cutscene on, the death of Lara Croft really hangs over the entire game. You can feel it with each level. There's just a somberness to this game that really makes you feel like you're imagining these stories as you listen to Lara's friends reminisce about the crazy stuff that she got up to. We play through a few different stories, one set in Rome, a Russian base and submarine, a spooky story from Lara's teenage years on the Black Isle, and a buggy-ass mess of levels set in Werner's headquarters, which is located in New York City. I love the Rome levels for the amazing Larson and Pierre fanfare that we get. The way they follow Lara, harmlessly trailing her around Rome, is just perfect. The combination of these three are vastly underutilized. I can very much take or leave the Russian base levels, but the Black Isle levels are very, very good. The atmosphere is so spooky. They harken back to when Tomb Raider was kind of a horror game, and I love it. The VCI levels are pretty abysmal though, only for how glitchy they are. I enjoy Zip in this level though. His and Lara's dialogue is really funny, but otherwise Chronicles is just meh. I kind of want to put it in economy class section, but that feels kind of harsh, so I think that I am gonna put that in. I'm sorry, I only play for sport, but just know it's at the very bottom of the tier. Okay, next up is Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness, released in 2003. Lara is back, and she's more pissed off than ever. When a reunion with her ex-mentor, Werner von Croy, turns sour, bad blood and resentment ends with Werner dead. Lara must fight to clear her name and finish what Werner started, and in turn expose Werner's true killer, because, well, you didn't think that she really killed him, did you? Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness. Be still, my beating heart. I'm probably going to talk about this game for a while, because I just love this game. AOD is so special to me in so many ways. It was the first Tomb Raider game that I remember the marketing cycle for. I would go to the computer room and sit on Tomb Raider's website and just click through all of the different pages and look at all of the different information, the screenshots. I think I downloaded this one trailer, and I haven't been able to find it. So if you know what it is, let me know. It was either this trailer or I don't know if it was like a trailer per se or if it was like a review from a gaming website. All I remember is the shot of Lara looking at her hands when Werner's dead, and this guy says like something to the effect of like, oh, you're gonna need more than soap to wash that off your hands, Lara. And I've never been able to find it since then. So if you know where that's from, let me know, because I want to see that video again. Angel of Darkness was also the first Tomb Raider game that I ever beat by myself. The morning that it was a Sunday morning, like I remember it so vividly. My parents were asleep. I was sitting in the living room on our TV playing The Angel of Darkness, and somehow I managed to beat this game all by myself. I was like 8 or 9. I was not that old. And I just remember watching the PS2 credits scroll, and it was just so like bittersweet. And yeah, like I've never felt something like that before. So man, Angel of Darkness was just such a time for me. It's just everything. Lara is so cunty in this game, literally and metaphorically. The atmosphere is insane. The story is so weird and dark and creepy, but it's amazing. Oh my god, like they just could never make me hate you, Angel of Darkness. Not the bugs, not the controls, nothing. No one. If there's one person left on this earth that loves Angel of Darkness, it's me. If there's no one left on this earth that loves Angel of Darkness, it is because I'm dead. Let me calm down. Starting off, Angel of Darkness is a diamond in the rough, through and through. There were so many development issues that plagued this game's dev cycle. The entire first year of work was scrapped because core design mismanaged and split their resources and put the studio veterans on Chronicles and the newbies on Angel of Darkness. Like, okay, that was a choice. The game was delayed like 3 different times. It was just a mess. Because of this, what you see in the final game is a fraction of what they truly wanted to do with this game. And you can definitely tell with how disjointed the levels feel at times. I mean, Lara doesn't even have her dual pistols in this game, despite the fact that they were supposed to be there. It took over 20 years and a remaster before we could actually get them in the game legitimately. The controls in this game are pretty temperamental as well, with Lara feeling sluggish at times. There's a lot of different bugs and glitches that can happen. This game is not without its issues, but there is a lot that shines through even despite all of that. Angel of Darkness has a really fantastic art direction and style. It's very gothic, very moody, very gritty film noir inspired. The character design in this one is also really amazing. Lara's design specifically is absolute peak. This is the best that she's ever looked. Lara has a much darker design in this game to match the moody aesthetic of the story and the environments. She has a much higher poly count for her model in this game since it was released on the PlayStation 2, and Henny, she is serving. Between the double denim outfit and the black tank top with the camo shorts, being a fugitive on the run has never looked so good. The shift from Lara's classic colors, the blue top, the brown shorts, to this game's darker tone being reflected in the outfit with the black top and the green camo shorts. It's just genius. This outfit is everything. Inject Lara's chunky eyelashes directly into my veins, please. Okay, let me actually talk about this game's story. So this game's story is huge. This was originally supposed to be a trilogy, which I think is why the game feels so big. This game was supposed to set up a lot of what would have been dealt with in the later games, but they ended up cutting it, stitching it together. So this is a massive story condensed down into one game. We start off with Lara somehow alive. They definitely glossed over the fact that she died or almost died in the last revelation. It's really only explained outside of the games if you know where to look. She's visiting Werner and Lara is pissed. Lara has a major attitude problem in this game and I live for it. I only wish that I could speak to people the way that she does in this game. She's super resentful toward Werner as she believes that he left her when the tomb collapsed. Werner is really on edge and paranoid as he's been commissioned to find these paintings for a client, but whoever this client is has Werner freaked out, and he's seeking Lara's help to finish the job. Lara and Werner have a very heated interaction, so heated that Werner ends up dead by the end of it. We don't get to see what transpires in between their fight. It's unclear if Lara killed him, but we all know that Lara wouldn't do that, even despite how pissed off she was. Lara and Werner have this amazingly deep relationship. They're friends, they're rivals, they're enemies. Their relationship is quite the roller coaster. They both truly care for each other, and I don't know, I just love their relationship and how it evolves and changes throughout The Last Revelation and Angel of Darkness. They were always fighting and pissed off with each other, but I feel like both of them enjoyed it deep down, and they still cared for each other. We spend the majority of the game in urban environments within Paris and Prague, but we do get some really nice tomb levels like the Tomb of Ancients, the iconic Hall of Seasons, and I love the Prague sections with the bio-research facility and the sanatorium. Oh my god. And speaking of the sanatorium, I have to talk about our duotagonist, and for the first time in Tomb Raider's history, a playable character aside from Lara. We have Curtis Trent.
Don't take too long.
Curtis Trent is a new character introduced in this game, and Core actually had a lot of plans for him, including his own spin-off game as a demon hunter. This game was supposed to set him up for that, which is why he has such a rich backstory and why Curtis Trent is very intertwined with AOD's main villain, Peter Van Eckart, and his powerful alliance of alchemists, the Cabal. The Cabal! Curtis's family spent his entire childhood running from and evading the Cabal, as the Cabal were trying to wipe out the order of warrior monks his family were a part of. It's a whole thing. So you see what I mean? They really had Curtis set up to take on his own game. So his backstory is packed with details, and I mean, AOD is too. The story revolves around a race of cursed hybrids of angels and humans called the Nephilim. The story is just so rich with detail, and all of it is intriguing. It's just mind-boggling how much Murdy Schofield was able to come up with, and it sucks not a lot of it got to come to fruition. But anyway, the Angel of Darkness is just a massive undertaking of a game. It was a big swing by Core Design, but sadly it was a big miss as well. But I don't care. This game is incredible, even despite all of its flaws. The story, the characters, the writing, the environments, the cutscenes, the animations, it all just comes together to somehow form a one-of-a-kind game that is truly unforgettable. This one is going to the tier it rightfully deserves, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it, and that's the S tier, baby. I make my own luck. Damn straight, girl. Okay, next up, we have quite a shift in tone. This is Tomb Raider's very first franchise reboot. It's more like a soft reboot, but a reboot nonetheless. We have Tomb Raider Legend, released in 2006. When a friend tips Lara off about a strange dais located in Tiwanaku, Bolivia, Lara believes the stone is connected to her mother's disappearance. This globe-trotting action romp will take you to the ends of the earth to not only uncover the myth of King Arthur, but Lara's past as well. Bitch, Legend is that girl, okay? So let's set it up a little bit. After the major disaster that was the Angel of Darkness, Eidos Interactive took the Tomb Raider IP away from Core Design. Mind you, Core Design created Tomb Raider. Now, I don't believe that the crime fit the punishment, but, you know, who am I? Eidos Interactive gave the Tomb Raider IP to a US studio called Crystal Dynamics, and Crystal has had a death grip on this franchise ever since. Tomb Raider has become its flagship IP, and I don't think they're ever letting it go. Before Tomb Raider, Crystal made games like the Gex series and the Legacy of Kain, so they were definitely a competent studio. Crystal Dynamics decided to sort of soft reboot the franchise to have a fresh slate to work with. So while Legend does change Lara's biography and other details, all of the other games still canonically happened. Tomb Raider Legend features a completely revamped control system. Gone is the grid-based gameplay system from the classic games. Lara is now moved by the analog stick instead of the D-pad, and the platforming is much more magnetic now. You don't need to size up jump distances or manually grab ledges. Lara will snap to them and grab them automatically when you jump at them. This gameplay is fun. It's a lot less tense and dangerous than the classic games, and it's more arcade-like. The combat is in the same vein as well. It's very arcadey. Lara can do flips and tricks now at the press of a button, which I do love. The endless amounts of flips that you can do in Legend are a lot of fun to perform. Lara can perform a kickflip off of enemies to trigger this bullet time effect that lets you do extra damage to enemies. It's a fun gameplay loop. You can turn off your brain and just enjoy it. And I don't mean for that to sound like a read. While I do miss the more platforming focused gameplay of the classics, Legend is a damn good time, and the vehicle sections are so much fun as well. The music during the vehicle sections are killer. I mean, Tomb Raider Legends soundtrack is one of my favorites. Between the main theme and some of the other tracks, Legends soundtrack is phenomenal. As I mentioned, Lara has some changes to her biography and personality as well. Legend Lara is very bright, she's very positive and bubbly, but she still has a bit of an edge to her every once in a while. It kind of harkens back to Tomb Raider 1 Lara. She can kick your ass, but very politely. In this story, Lara is searching for some answers about her mother who went missing when she was a child. Lara and her mother's plane crashed in the Himalayas, a twist on classic Lara's biography. And while trying to survive and find shelter, Lara comes across this dais with a sword in it, and like any little kid, she has to touch it. And in doing so, she accidentally triggers the sword into the dais. Amelia, Lara's mother, is rightfully spooked and tries to get Lara out of there, but when the dais is triggered, a sort of portal is opened, and a voice speaks to her from the other side. Words are exchanged, but it's not quite clear what is said. Suddenly, Lara's mother panics and pulls the sword from the dais, and when the smoke clears, Lara's mother is gone. Lara's father spends the rest of his life and his reputation trying to find out what happened to Amelia and where she went. After Lara's father went missing and was presumed dead as well when Lara was only 15, Lara has taken up the mantle and has continued his search ever since. Crystal uses this basis of Lara trying to find answers about what happened to her mother as a reason for why she does what she does. Every artifact she goes after is because she's trying to figure out if this has a connection to what happened to her mother. I don't necessarily love this, as the parental drama not only gets old very quickly, but it also takes a lot of Lara's agency away from her. It becomes less about Lara doing this for fun because she loves it, and more so about Lara's parents for everything. But I mean, it doesn't really come up that much within Legend. I mean, it's not as melodramatic about it, at least. I don't know. I don't love the parental drama that Crystal will be obsessed with from this point forward, but at least Legend isn't too heavy-handed about it. Legend is still a very light and fun game, so I don't really count it against it. Of course, we have to talk about Amanda. I have to say, I kind of root for her in this game. I'm not sure if Crystal didn't exactly think it through when they were writing this game, but Lara's kind of a piece of shit for what she did to Amanda, and I fully support her hatred of Lara. You mean to tell me that if your best friend was trapped in a cave, you wouldn't try and recover her body? We thought of it as a memorial. You've got to be kidding me. That's a horrible explanation for just leaving your friend's body down in a cave to rot. A cave that clearly wasn't all that hard to get into. What about Amanda's parents? Did they not want to try and recover her body? I know I'm probably not supposed to think about this too hard, but I've always thought this aspect of Legend's story was so funny because it just does not make Lara look like a good person, at all. Speaking of the writing, Legend's writing, at least in terms of dialogue, is unmatched. The amount of one-liners in this game, the lines that I quote to this day.
You'd be amazed how persuasive I can be, even with dangerous men. I've simplified your payroll, and now, if you don't mind, I'll streamline your inventory.
Makes sense right this second, or I swear I'll execute you where you stand!
We also have everyone's favorite, Zip and Alistair. A lot of people hate Zip and Alistair, but, I really don't mind them all that much. Legend is it's just so much fun. I think I forgot to mention this, but there's a great variety of locations in this one. Peru, Japan, Nepal. Legend is it's all over the globe. Every single level features a different location. It's endlessly replayable. There's so many outfits for Lara to wear. It's iconic, it's memorable, it's fun. It's going straight to the S tier. Next on the list is Tomb Raider Anniversary, released in 2007. Lara is hired by a mysterious businesswoman, Jacqueline Natla, to find the mysterious artifact, the Scion of Atlantis. an ancient artifact originally sought after by Lara's father. This is all sounding a bit familiar, isn't it? So with Anniversary, it's an odd one, because I think while Anniversary is fun, it's not a game Crystal wanted to make. I don't believe for a second that Crystal had any intention of making this game until they got wind of Core Design's remake. I don't say that to start any sort of like which game would have been better or Crystal just wanted to silence Core kind of debates, even though I think there's plenty of evidence to support that Crystal was feeling a certain type of way. I only say that because this game doesn't feel inspired to me. It doesn't feel like Crystal approached this game with the intent of, wow, it's the 10th anniversary of Tomb Raider. We should do something special for the fans. We also feel like we have a lot of great ideas for this game, and we have a lot of stuff that could be added with the progression of graphics. No. It feels like Crystal were saying, shit, Core Design are trying to weasel their way back into developing for Tomb Raider with this remake. Let's remake the game and show IDOS that Tomb Raider should stay completely in-house with us. And I don't think Crystal are bad people for having that mentality, if that's what the case was at the time. I mean, it's job security basically. But because of that, we end up with a boring game. And I mean, Crystal ended up shooting themselves in the foot in the long run, but we'll get to that once we rank Tomb Raider Underworld. So, Tomb Raider Anniversary. It's very much the same game as Legend in terms of gameplay. Lara has a few different moves than in Legend, but there's nothing that important to note. The combat is a significant downgrade here though, with the introduction of the Rage Meter. If you shoot an enemy enough times, they will become enraged and will charge at Lara. You have to then dodge, and you'll have a slow motion, quick time event that gives you the ability to one-shot kill them. This would be fine if it were something optional, but it's not. It is mandatory for every single enemy that you fight, and it's also essential to every boss within the game too. All of the bosses have a mechanic that revolves around this feature. It just feels repetitive and it makes everything boring. The story has been intertwined with Legends, so the Scion goes from something that Lara never even heard of and was hired to find to, you've played this game before with your father. Now Lara's father was searching for the Scion, and that's why Lara's interested. She loses her agency here, and it just becomes about her father. Anniversary feels like a very sanitized version of Tomb Raider 1. A lot of rooms are cut in favor of corridors, and some entire levels are cut, like the Tomb of Tehoken. Atlantis is now referred to as the Lost Island, and I've never really been a fan of that. It just loses all of its flavor. I'm just gonna say it. Anniversary is giving boiled chicken. No flavoring, no seasoning, nothing. I guess it makes sense they renamed Atlantis to the Lost Island because the design of these levels are just as boring as the name is. Gone are the fleshy, nasty, pulsating walls from the original. Now we have stone columns, stone walls, stone everywhere, and quirky ancient symbols too that mean something. Anniversary just feels like it stripped everything unique and exciting about the original away from it. Even the quietness of Anniversary is boring. The original felt isolating. It felt creepy. It only enhanced the atmosphere, but in Anniversary, it's just quiet. It's just kind of there. I also don't love Lara's look in this game, at least not the gameplay version of her model. The CGI model that was in the trailer is everything. She is stunning. There's just something off about the way she looks in game. Also, shame on you, Crystal, for making this monstrosity. You will never convince me that this character model was not intentional shade. Like, come on, y'all. Look at this egghead, squiggly line, goofy looking goober. They literally could have just imported the model from the original game, but no. They went out of their way to make this as poorly and as cartoony as possible to be shady queens. Go back and listen to the commentary in the game and tell me there's not this air of superiority with the way that they talk about their game versus the original game. I don't know, man. The vibes are just off with Anniversary, and I've ranted for too long. Anniversary is fine. It's fine. It's just fine. So it's going in the B tier. I'm sorry, I only play for sport. Next up, we have Tomb Raider Underworld, released in 2008. Lara travels across the globe searching for Mjolnir, the key to the Norse underworld. Believing she'll find answers to her mother's fate, she continues her search for Avalon while battling her rival Amanda and a freed Jacqueline Natla that just doesn't know when to die. Ugh! Tomb Raider Underworld. How I love you so much. Tomb Raider Underworld finally continues the story from Legend, and I think that this game is just fantastic. Not only do I love the Norse mythology in this game, even though I think the switch up of mythology from Legend to Underworld is a little bit odd, it does work in a weird way. King Arthur's swords being used as a travel network, so to speak, is a very creative way for them to branch out and use other mythology, but still have it make sense within the universe. Amanda is as bitchy as ever in this game, and listen, I'm always down for her giving Lara a hard time, and girl... Lara gives it right back in this game. These two bitches are everything to me. Oh, just like your mother. I need Amanda to come back. Please, I need her to come back. We also have the iconic doppelganger in Underworld. She's beautiful, she's perfect, she's like Linda Evangelista, she's a model. I just love the concept and execution of Doppel in this game. I wish there was some way that she could come back and like, I don't know, sort of like be her own character or something. I will say, Natla is also great in this game. She's so perfectly manipulative, and Lara bouncing Thor's hammer off of her face at the end of the game is always a treat. Underworld has a great variety of locations. Thailand is beautiful. The soundtrack for this location is amazing. Southern Mexico is dripping with atmosphere, pun intended. There's just so many great areas in this game. What's not so great is the gameplay. Underworld suffers a lot in its gameplay. General movement is jerky, especially when you're trying to perform and move around on ledges. The camera is awful and is also super janky and jerky and not responsive at times. It's like it gets stuck on certain pieces of the environment. There's also certain areas where the camera is super sensitive, like just nudging the analog stick makes it move insanely fast. It's a really, really weird camera. And this is where the comment I made about Crystal shooting themselves in the foot from Anniversary comes in. I think Underworld would have been a better game had they not made Anniversary. If they would have just, for example, let Core Design do their thing, release the Anniversary game on the PSP, and Crystal just continued making their games, I think we would have gotten a better and more complete game. I think the decision to develop Anniversary and Underworld, likely at the same time together, splitting resources and dev time, parallels Core Design's decision to do the same thing with Chronicles and Angel of Darkness, but I digress. Back to Underworld. I believe that Tomb Raider Underworld is the closest Crystal has ever gotten to classic Lara. She's really one of my favorite versions of Lara in this game. Lara in Underworld is just everything. I always love when Lara skews as having a bit more attitude, and Lara certainly has that in spades here. She's still lighthearted as she is in Legend, but she has this edge to her in Underworld that wasn't present in Legend, which makes sense. Her mansion has been blown up, Amanda's fucking with her again, and she just wants answers about her mother. She knows she's close, and you can feel her drive and determination in this one. I also love the default outfit in this game. It's a really nice switch up, and I love the classic colors on this outfit like we see later in The Guardian of Light. Underworld, despite its flaws, is still a great game. It's also totally underrated in the graphics department. It has aged beautifully and still holds up to this day. Underworld is going into the A tier. Anyway, busy girl, gotta go. Next up, we have Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, released in 2010. Lara Croft joins forces with Totec, the Guardian of Light, in this twin-stick arcade co-op adventure to stop Zolot, an ancient Aztec god. Can they put him back in the mirror of smoke and save the world before the light of dawn? I don't know if you guys remember when this game was released, but it was kind of a big deal, at least for me. Up to this point, we had never seen a game like this for Tomb Raider. An isometric co-op twin stick arcade game shooter. Like, on paper, it sounds ridiculous, but in execution, it's flawless. This game is so much fun. I really love this game. The plot with this game isn't all that deep. I don't think we even have a villain outside of the obvious Zolot. Like, the guys at the beginning that cause him to become free are just nameless warlord mercenaries within the universe that are killed immediately. This game keeps it simple, and it just works. A lot of the assets are reused from Underworld, which makes sense. The soundtrack is as well, but I'm not mad at it. It fits this game and doesn't really feel like they're recycling things to an egregious degree. The co-op in this game is a really great time, except for the part where you have to argue over who's going to be Lara, because girl, don't nobody want to be Totek? I want to be Lara! They make great use of the grapple, grabbing and dangling each other over cliff edges, the spear that Totek can throw to make a makeshift bridge across large gaps. There's just so many ways that this game makes you work together as a team, and it's just done so well. The cover art for this game is also beautiful. I always thought Lara looks like Mila Jovovich in this cover, which isn't a bad thing, unless Paul Anderson, her husband, tries to get anywhere near making a Tomb Raider movie. Guardian of Light is amazing, and I don't think it gets enough praise. It's a spin-off that took a chance, and it delivers. It deserves nothing but the S tier. I make my own luck. Next up is Tomb Raider 2013. A young and inexperienced Lara sets out to make her mark. Traveling on a research vessel, Lara and crew search for the Dragon's Triangle. When a storm causes the ship to crash, Lara will have to find the strength to survive and uncover the mystery to make it off the island of Yamatai alive. Ooh, Lord. We've made it to the polarizing games, y'all. The dreaded reboot era. I might end up talking about this one for a while, so buckle up. And it may be surprising, but I actually have a more positive opinion of Tomb Raider 2013 than you might think. I do really like this game, and I enjoy playing it even to this day. It's personally my favorite from the Survivor trilogy, and I think it all kind of goes downhill from here. Tomb Raider 2013 is probably one of the biggest and hardest pivots I've ever seen a franchise do. Usually when a franchise reboots, they'll take you back to the beginning and reset things, right? Maybe they want to try out a different direction for the franchise, or maybe they've written themselves into a corner and just need a fresh start. Some things change, but the core of the character is still the same, right? Well, not in this case. Lara has been completely rebuilt from the ground up. She has a new biography, a new upbringing, new motivations, new iconography. She is essentially a brand new character. Gone is the braid, the dual pistols, her iconic outfit, her attitude. It's all gone. And we have a brand new, fresh Lara Croft, or so she's called. Ready to find adventure, ready to make her mark. That's where we find this Lara Croft. She's fresh out of university, and she's excited to get out there and make a discovery. And I think this is a pretty good start, at least for what CD was going for. I think this kind of a reboot was never necessary, but Crystal had me at this point in time, and you can tell that there was a lot of passion that went into making this game. The entire game is set on the island of Yamatai, or at least we know that. Lara spends the entire game wondering if this is truly Yamatai, despite the island having all the things that she was searching for. Tons of sunken ships, ships that have likely been missing. Dragon's Triangle is where things go missing. We have statues of an ancient woman that people worshipped. We have bizarre weather occurrences happening constantly. But Lara just can't quite put her finger on if this is really Yamatai. I've never liked this aspect of the game, and I don't understand why they do it, as it makes Lara look stupid when she's not. There's no reason to make this a mystery when the game is marketed as Lara being on Yamatai. We know where she is. So having Lara be unsure of that the majority of the game doesn't do anything to add to the story. I know that's like a random, like nitpicky thing to complain about, but it's just always stuck out to me and always bothered me how it's not until the end of the game where Lara's like, oh my god, wait, this is actually Yamatai. Like, yeah, girl, we've been new. I really enjoy Yamatai. It's one singular location, but they do well to break up the environment and vary them so you're never in one place for too long. We have the forests, we have the shanty town, and the beach. It's a decent variety, and the island truly does feel alive. I especially love all the trinkets that you can find all over the place, and the information Lara gives you when you're inspecting them. Lara is truly interested and fascinated by these artifacts, and she also knows a lot about history. I love this part of Lara's character in this game. The collectibles and diaries give you a lot of backstory about the island, and it's actually information I want to know. Crystal did a fantastic job at making Yamatai have an intriguing history, and I love all of the stuff with Himiko, the Sun Queen. I just wish we had an actual boss fight with her. The gameplay is very much a cover shooter, lots of waist-high objects for you to hide behind while you wait for your health to regenerate. It's very Uncharted, this game, and in so many ways, it's very Uncharted. But the shooting feels great overall, headshots are satisfying, and the aiming and the shooting in general feel very responsive and really snappy. One major issue with this game is that it's called Tomb Raider, but all the tombs are optional. I get what they were going for, and I think that the side tombs with puzzles to solve are a great concept. We just needed more of them, and more of them within the main path of the game, because if you never touch any of these side tombs, the game is entirely run from point A to point B, shoot enemies along the way. That's it. They relegated the thing that's in the name of the game to side content that is completely missable. And it's a pretty weird choice. And also, the side tombs are all the same type of physics-based puzzles. There aren't any riddles to solve or any other kind of puzzle here. It's all the same weights and pressure plates and platforms to weigh down. It's all very repetitive and boring after a while. The side cast of characters are also pretty forgettable. They're all pretty much a big pile of meh. They're all extremely shallow tropes instead of being fleshed out humans. And Crystal's lack of commitment to follow through on killing Sam at the end of this game was such a waste. They built up that moment with Roth so much, and it went nowhere because they chickened out and didn't even do anything with Sam's character going forward. So what was the point of keeping her alive other than pulling her out of the basement every once in a while for some comic fodder? There's a lot more that I want to go into, but I'm going to move on for now. Tomb Raider 2013 is a great game. Is it a great Tomb Raider game? Not really, but I am going to still put it in the A tier because I was excited for Lara's growth by the end, and I couldn't wait to see where her character went and how she progressed and got stronger. I couldn't wait for her to become the Tomb Raider she was meant to be. It's too bad that never happens. Next is Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, released in 2014. When Lara and rising star archaeologist Carter Bell are cursed by the lost staff of Osiris, they'll join forces with the last remaining old gods of Egypt, Iris and Horus. It's a race against time in another co-op isometric arcade shooter to lift the curse and put Osiris back together and stop Set from ruling Egypt. Man, this was a weird time for the Tomb Raider franchise in hindsight. We just had the reboot a year prior, and now we have another arcade shooter that kind of ping-pongs us back and forth between reboot Lara and like LAU Lara. It's kind of like tonal whiplash to go from this woman who is unsure of herself and doesn't feature any of the Tomb Raider iconography back to basically Lara from LAU. I don't know, it's just an odd time for sure. Temple of Osiris is another fun twin-stick shooter. We even have the ability to play with up to 4 people this time, whereas Guardian of Light was only 2 players. This game is good, but I don't think it feels as tight of an experience as Guardian of Light was. Temple of Osiris is set entirely in Egypt, where there's not a ton of variety, but it is still a pretty good game. there's a sort of open world element to this game. Crystal have been obsessed with hubs ever since 2013, and this game takes that approach and applies it to the entire game. You only have one central hub area you'll always return to, and from there you'll enter either tombs that progress the story or side tombs that feature a single puzzle and reward at the end. These are all scattered throughout the main hub. You'll also unlock new areas to access as you progress through the story. This is fine and all, but it does kind of get confusing as there isn't any real sense of direction sometimes, and you can get lost very easily as there isn't a map in this game to refer to. There really isn't any sense of progression too, because you do spend the entire game in this central hub, so it doesn't ever feel like you actually go anywhere or do anything. I also think Crystal was aware of the fact that it was confusing in terms of the main hub, because you can use the Staff of Osiris to help guide you back to the main statue or to your main objective, but it just doesn't really work that well. The music in this game is incredible though. We have so many bouncy and exciting Egyptian themed tracks in this game, and it makes the game feel very light and very fun. The puzzles and cooperation in this game is still a lot of fun. With up to 4 people now, it can get pretty chaotic, and you'll need some good communication for some of these puzzles to complete them. Lara's model looks really pretty in this game. I love the way that she looks in this game. I love that she's a blend of LAU Lara and sort of Survivor Lara's original face. There's a lot of unlockable outfits here too, so that's a plus. Carter Bell has always been such a meh character to me. I'm not sure why they never brought back any legacy characters and instead created this new guy. He's just so bland and doesn't really offer anything interesting in contrast to Lara. Isis and Horus are also just kind of there. They don't really add or detract anything from the game. All in all, this game is fun, but it does feel like a bit of a step down from Guardian of Light, so I am going to put this in the B tier. I'm sorry, I only play for sport. Alright, next up is Rise of the Tomb Raider, released in 2015. 1 year after Lara's life-changing experience, Lara seeks answers for what she saw. Turning to her late father's research, she's led to the lost city of Katesh. Will Lara find the truth, or will the shadow organization Trinity stop her? Rise of the Tomb Raider. Oh man. This game is such a letdown for me. 2013 ended on such a high note. Lara's character arc was complete. She has become who she's meant to be. But Rise takes her right back to the bottom. And honestly, Rise feels like another reboot in itself. A lot of people don't remember this, but Lara's parents were retconned between 2013 and Rise. It's like Crystal couldn't help themselves. They were fiending for the parental drama. They couldn't wait to get it back into the games. They didn't know what else to do. In Lara's biography from 2013, and this is directly from my copy of the 2013 limited edition hardcover strategy guide, I bought this baby back in 2013. It came with a replica of Lara's necklace, and I wore this thing everywhere. I'm telling you, I was very much into the reboot at first. When Lara was young, she traveled with her parents on many of their archaeological expeditions. These expeditions and the mysteries they uncovered helped shape the woman she was becoming. It was on one of these expeditions that her parents vanished and were presumed dead. However, in Rise of the Tomb Raider, this is changed, and they revert it back to the sort of story from LAU, except it's not exactly the same. Lara's mother went missing and is presumed dead, and Lara's father went crazy trying to find the secret to immortality to try and bring her back. It's all very melodramatic, and now, after Lara's experience from Yamatai, she's determined to explain and find reasoning for what she saw. She refuses to believe the existence of the supernatural, except she seemed pretty content, and the line between all truth and myth is fragile and blurry at the end of 2013. This is why Rise feels like a major step back to me. It walks back so much of 2013's progress for the sake of a mediocre story and god-awful characters. We have Anna, the most obvious evil stepmother ever. Anna was Lord Croft's girlfriend, and she's just... no, I don't even want to think of something funny to say about her. She's just not even worth it. She's so boring. We also have Constantine, the leader of a task force within Trinity, the Survivor Trilogy's big bad shadow organization. Constantine apparently believes he's like Jesus or the chosen one or something because he has stigmata on his hands, you know, crucifixion wounds and all that. But it turns out that he isn't Jesus, and his stigmata isn't even real. When Anna and Constantine were younger, because, oh yeah, they're brother and sister, Anna snuck into his room one night when he was sleeping and injured his hands in a way to manipulate him into believing he was the chosen one and restore his faith. First of all, I would love to know the logistics of how Anna injured both of his hands without waking him up. And second of all, it's just so contrived and stupid. In Rise, Lara is searching for the divine source, of course, the key to immortality. Constantine and Anna are also searching for the divine source because Anna has a terminal illness and wants to use it to cure herself. Imagine that. The divine source is fine. It's not really all that interesting. I think it could have been a lot cooler had it not been wrapped up in such a boring and contrived story. The gameplay in Rise also feels off. I know there was some input delay on the initial PS4 version when it came out, so the aiming never feels as snappy and responsive as it is in 2013. I don't know, it just doesn't feel as fun as it does in 2013. Because the combat is ramped up to 11 and there's so much of it. Like, it's just too much. Rise has way too much combat. Because there's so much combat, Lara has a lot more options at her disposal, which can be fun options to use. She has poison arrows that she can craft to kill enemies. She has compound arrows that shoot into the walls, creating a path for her. Oddly enough, the one thing that she doesn't have is dual pistols. Huh. Lara received them from Roth at the final act of the game, yet she never used them once. Crystal then proceeded to blue ball us for the rest of this era, always promising that she'd become the Tomb Raider at some point, only for her to never use the dual pistols. Man, this era was so frustrating. This game just feels like a palette swap to 2013 with a less interesting location and far less interesting story. It's all snow. It's all snow. Nothing else. It's all snow. It's so boring. I mean, look at the finale of these two games, 2013 and Rise. Tell me these are not exactly the same sequences. It's so lazy. And the deathless ones are just a reskinned Oni. I will say, Rise is a very beautiful game. The Microsoft money they got for this game really shows. The facial animations are pretty next level, but sometimes they do come off as uncanny, and their faces tend to look like silly putty stretched over my knee. Rise just does not take us forward, and only takes us backwards, especially in terms of Lara's character progression. She's no longer doing this for sport, she's doing everything for her father, and she's just so miserably dramatic in these games. As we'll see in Shadow, it becomes quite insufferable. We have our first game in the D tier, economy class. Next up, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, released in 2018. When Lara's dedication turns into obsession, she inadvertently begins the apocalypse. Lara and Jonah race against time to stop Trinity once and for all and set things right. Oh boy, I really don't like this game. This game is just really, really weird. Probably part because it was like half developed by Crystal and then half developed by Eidos Montreal or some form of that, but they just did not know what they were doing with this story. They did not know where to go or where to take the character, and it shows bad in Shadow. The gameplay in Shadow is very odd. There was a lot of feedback from Rise that it was far too heavy on the combat, so Shadow scaled it back, but they scaled it back way too much, to the point where there really isn't much combat in Shadow, which is a shame because Shadow could have had a lot more variety in its combat with the systems that they introduced. There's a lot more option for stealth in this game, as Lara can hide in foliage on the walls, she can cover herself in mud to hide from enemies and blend in with her surroundings. There's even a poison arrow you can shoot at an enemy and it will cause them to hallucinate and shoot their own allies. There's some really neat stuff here, even if it feels out of place in a Tomb Raider game. But Shadow has so little combat that you never really get the chance to fully enjoy it all. Shadow does have one big positive, and that is we have a lot more tombs. And I think this is genuinely the only thing Shadow excels at. There are some stunning tombs here, and they're not relegated to optional content either. But sadly, it doesn't make up for the rest of the game's shortcomings. So in Shadow, they try to do what the last Revelation did, and that's have Lara accidentally start the apocalypse because she's not paying attention. But what Shadow does that the last Revelation didn't is that this game takes itself so fucking serious that it makes this game and this character a miserable slog to get through. I genuinely don't know what they were trying to get out of Lara by this point. They stretched out what was supposed to be a singular origin story with 2013 into an origin trilogy. Oh no, she's not the Tomb Raider yet. She'll become that at the end of this game, and then rinse and repeat until you have a trilogy, I guess. I don't know. Crystal did not have a plan for this trilogy. They didn't plan anything. They never actually stick to anything either. They have no conviction, and that's one of the major reasons why this game and this trilogy is such ass. Now, I'm not trying to do a play-by-play here, as this is just a ranking, but I do want to talk about this moment really quick. They try and set up Lara as completely consumed by her obsession with stopping Trinity. That's all that matters to her, to the point where Lara is responsible for an entire village's death. We see many people die in this section, and even a kid, which is pretty surprising to me. This is Lara's fault, and for what it's worth, I do think the sequence is pretty well done. It's just this cutscene that undercuts it and completely ruins it. Lara is whining and screaming about how it's her fault and that they have to stop Trinity. And I've always seen some people point to this cutscene and say, oh my god, Jonah told Lara off. He put her in her place. Yes, Queen Jonah. But he really doesn't. He only further solidifies Lara's Mary Sue complex that plagues these games, as he literally tells her, you don't know that you caused this. Not everything is about you. Well, no, yeah, she did cause that. This is her fault. The game sets that up and shows us that Lara did cause this by taking the dagger. She was so worried about not letting Trinity get a hold of it that she took it first, without considering what might happen, only for Jonah to let her off the hook again. Jonah is an enabler. He's an enabler. Another aspect of this game that plagues it is the dreaded Paititi. In Paititi, Lara cannot change her outfit. She has to wear these ceremonial robes or whatever they are as to be respectful of Paititi's culture. This game is already dripping with the white savior trope. Why not add in a pointless restriction that frustrates literally everyone? Given that Shadow has a pretty ugly and unflattering default outfit, it's not like I wanted to wear this outfit either, but it sure as hell beat this boring robe.
Ariana, you look a hot mess.
A hot mess. I've been trying to tell you.
And I'm serious, that wig looks synthetic, the bang.
Ugly.
Come on now.
And in Shadow, they encourage you to scavenge the environments and craft different pieces that you can add on to Lara's outfit that will give you different bonuses. But you can't even wear the outfit for the majority of the game and see the piece that you've worked for. This game also has one of the worst conclusions to an evil organization that they just spent 2 games setting up that I've ever seen. Trinity is a massive shadow organization that is 1,000 years old, and they are unceremoniously wiped out within seconds during a gameplay sequence. Rourke, the second in command, who is set up as a pretty big player in this game, is killed off screen. And after that, Trinity is apparently just done, I guess. Dominguez is a nothing burger of a villain, and Lara is probably the most insufferable I've ever seen. She's so miserable and frustrating and annoying to see in this game. She bounces back and forth between determined and confident to crying in the mud within minutes. Jonah has a fake out death scare every 5 minutes, which Lara believes and falls for every single time. Oh my god, it's just This game is just exhausting. Don't even get me started on that bizarre hair that she has when she covers herself in mud. Like, what were they doing with this game? Shadow is just a confusing mess with no real direction. They couldn't even make up their mind on the ending. The game has a different ending that was patched out day one. The original ending showed Winston bringing Lara some tea, and even hinted to the future by having a shot of an envelope on her desk from Jacqueline Natla at Skion Tower in Calcutta, India? I assume those are so weirdly worded for the sake of Easter eggs rather than accuracy, but anyway, this envelope was patched out day one and a different ending was put in its place. Again, Crystal can't make up their mind, and considering the next game that we know is coming, The Legacy of Atlantis, I don't know why this was really patched out. With all that said, Shadow is going to the bottom tier. We have our first game in the D tier, because I never want to play this game again. Ever. Can you believe that it's been almost 10 years since we've had a new Tomb Raider game? It's kind of insane that we've had to wait this long. And Shadow was the last game that, we had released as a Tomb Raider game. It's just crazy. Of course, I can't rank Legacy of Atlantis as we haven't played it yet, but I'm so excited for the Legacy of Atlantis next year, and I can't wait to see where I'm going to end up ranking it in my list. I don't want to end things on an entirely sour note after Shadow, so I did save a few for last, and I'm going to rapid fire these ones. Alright, Lara Croft Go, released in 2015. Lara Croft Go is a turn-based puzzle game originally released on smartphones, later ported to consoles. This is a fantastic spin-off game. If you haven't played it yet, you really need to do so. It has some great puzzles. I love this one, and I am going to put this one in I Make My Own Luck. It is essential. Essential. Tomb Raider Reloaded in 2023. Tomb Raider Reloaded is it's a garbage mobile game, not worth your time. It's going straight to the D tier. Who even played this game? It also makes me mad because they got literally all three classic Laras together, Janelle Elliott, Judith Gibbons, and Shelley Blonde, and recorded material that was supposed to be released, and it never was. How dare you? How dare you? We have Lara Croft Relic Run, released in 2015. Relic Run was a reskinned temple run, and I enjoyed this game a ton. I played this game a lot. It was perfect for playing while you're watching TV or something similar. It's a pretty decent mobile game, and it's going in the I'm sorry, I only play for sport. Next up, we have the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remasters, released in 2024. My beloved remasters. I'll never forget the day that this was announced. We begged for these for so long. Sometimes it still doesn't feel real to play these on modern consoles. They're not perfect and do feature a lot of AI upscaled textures, which I don't love, and have suffered a lot from the most recent AI slop update. There's a lot of features we still don't have, but should have been there at launch, like level select, brightness settings, and 60 frames per second for classic graphics, but they're still wonderful and they're still worth playing. They're gonna go in the anyway, busy girl gotta go tier. Lastly, we have the Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remasters, released in 2025. Another total shock for when these were announced. I didn't actually think that I would ever get to play Angel of Darkness on a PlayStation 5, but here we are. While AOD isn't as polished or remastered as I would have liked, Lara's character model is so gaggy. I love her so much. She looks so good. Conrad did such an incredible job on these. And The Last Revelation and Chronicles got such a facelift. These are truly stunning games now, especially The Last Revelation. It's jaw-dropping how beautiful this game is, and what the dev team was able to do in such a short amount of time. I kind of wish 1 through 3 would have been released in 2025, and then 4 through 6 was released in 2026 to give them more time, but what can you do? This is a great package either way, so it's of course going to go into anyway. Busy girl, got to go. All right, that is my tier list. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Let me know in the comments how you feel. If you've made it this far, I truly appreciate you for watching this video. This is probably going to be pretty long, and this was a lot of fun to do. So please like, comment, and subscribe to the Croft Court channel for more Tomb Raider content, and I will see you guys in the next one.